that she's in her entrepreneurship journey. So just to give you a little bit of background about Monique, she is a University of Kansas, athlete Hall of Famer who went from becoming a three-time Super Bowl champion. My gosh, craziness! In the Women's Professional Football League, and then franchised the Houston Energy. So Monique is also a executive in entrepreneurship in the nonprofit sector. Yeah. And today she's going to give us some insight about that world, how she got started, what's the passion behind what she does. So we're excited to have her. Monique, are you on the line?
She is here. Let's get her up on the screen. Hey, hi, Monique. Welcome to the show, Monique the Bus Howard. How you doing?
Hello. I'm good. How about you?
We are great, and we're glad to have you here. Thank you for being a part of our show. And I mean, we always like to have strong women on our show. Great women.
Good. I'm happy to be on.
So for all of our listeners out there, so, a little bit about entrepreneur life. We like to bring in really tangible, great guests that can educate you, that can give you their journey, that you can connect with, that you can get a hold of if you have questions, and maybe be a part of what they're doing in their journey. So we go on every Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on all your podcasts, as well as live on Facebook. So we have some questions for you. Maybe you can tell little people about yourself a bit.
Well, pretty much I'm an athlete. I think that I'm really, to define me, I would say that I'm a server. I have been serving people, I guess, since I was about 15 years old. So I define myself as a server.
A server. That's a good definition.
Yeah.
Is that because of your volunteering? You get that from your volunteering part of you, or wanting to help?
Well, just a little bit where it started from. I played baseball with 44 boys and one girl. And from the time I started playing baseball, I was a recruiter. So I would go and help Mr. Earl recruit kids to start playing baseball. By the time I finished playing baseball at 15, I started coaching. So I started giving back to my community by just serving. I'm the type of person that just serves wherever it's needed. And so at that time in my life, it was serving the community through baseball. But after I came back from college, I ended up, my brothers, my nephew really, and my brother, they was just kind of doing stuff. So I just got a group of kids and started serving them by taking them to skating ring, and the only thing they had to do was go to church on Sunday, and we would go to different churches. So just trying to create a better environment, no matter where you are in life, that you can find someone that can help you. And I feel like that's kind of part of what I do.
Perfect. So could you tell us a little bit behind the word, the bus, between your name? I'm just very curious about that. I want to understand what that's all about.
Did you hear that part?
No, I couldn't hear you.
So I was asking, I know that you have the bus between Monique and Howard. So I wanted to understand what the bus meant in your name.
Where did you get the nickname The Bus from Monique the Bus Howard?
It was part of when I started playing football. I tried out for the Houston Energy, the WPFL, so it was the women's football league that started in 2000. And after my first game of playing football, playing fullback, they just started calling me the bus because when I ran the ball, it took a lot of people to get me down. So it's kind of like I just kind of carry people like they're on the bus, and I just carry them where I wanted them to go. So they gave me the name.
Basically, women's leagues weren't really as popular.
Right.
Yeah, I think, like right now, the leagues are They're paying players to play. But back then, when I played, we were just trying to get it out there to let people know that women could play football. So we played 3 years. I played from 2000 to 2002. We won three Super Bowls, and we only lost two games in those 3 years that we played. So we had two undefeated seasons.
So how do you feel that women are, obviously the times have changed, how they're respected in the field of sports between today and then? Because it had to have been much more difficult for you then, for people.
Well, I think it's always been difficult, especially for me because my first sport was baseball, and my first experience that it was going to be hard for me to play is when I tried out for my high school baseball team. And I was also playing basketball at the same time. And so I had to do a separate trial.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did the separate trial, they said that I was good enough to play on the team, but they had already made cuts and they didn't want to cut somebody to let me in. And I think that was the first disappointing um, when I really found the difference in women playing, because playing for Mr. Earl and 44 boys, I was used to playing with boys, and I think that was the biggest adjustment for me once I did start playing girls, even in college basketball. It was difficult because I was used to playing with boys, so I really never really thought that I had played to my potential because of when you play with boys and then you transition to play with girls, it seems as if they think you're too aggressive. Uh, so you have to play your game down. So I think, all through my life, besides with football, I was able to really show who I am. Even though I'm a Hall of Famer at my college and I, did all these sports, I really, really didn't think that I really got a chance to really show my talents. And so that's why when I deal with kids, I try to tell them that you really, really can't allow people to stop you from being who you feel you really are.
We are.
And I
I
think
love
that
that.
was the biggest thing because my mother never wanted me to play sports. And if I would have listened to my mother, I never would have a college degree today because I wouldn't have went to school if I didn't play ball.
What do you think brought on your wanting to help the community so much? I mean, because it's a lot to volunteer your time.
I think it came from the church. My grandparents were servers. My mother was a beautician in the neighborhood that I live in. So I've been a part of people that serve, so it kind of came natural.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's when I see people hurting and I just feel like I need to do something. Like with me starting feeding the homeless. I fed the homeless for years out of our Christmas dinner. I would take 10 plates out of our Christmas dinner and take it to the car wash. And then once my mother passed, we were still cooking all that food. And then I just started doing more plates and more plates. And, I've been doing it over 20 years now. And really undercover. Everything that I have done, I have hustled to do it. I haven't really asked, people that know me give me stuff to be able to give, to be able to help folks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really ground level. A lot of people want to help once they get a lot of money or they want to help with people. But I think that you can start with what you have and God will open the door where you can serve more people than you ever would think you could.
That's so funny that you said that because that's so true. I think that's everybody's thought pattern is like once you have enough is when you can help. So it's interesting and it's nice to hear that you can help with whatever you have at the moment. So that's nice. Could you tell us a little bit about like your, the nonprofit that you currently have and in the,
So
what you're doing
serving
in the
people, I
community?
think, is pretty much part of my DNA. It's part of what God put me here to do. I work with young kids for as my job. I work with the Upper Bound program, And so what we deal at the Upper Bound program is first generation kids, which means neither parent has a college degree, low income. And so we do everything that we can to get them, if they have a desire to go to college, that's what we do. We help them to get them there. So we do one-on-one trying to figure out what they really want and get them in a direction that they can be successful. So I think every part of my life, no matter what I do, it comes to the part of serving. I really define myself as a servant. So, but community based. So, my community, I have never lived outside of my community, but the time that I went to school in Kansas. Most of the other times I still live in the house that I grew up in. Cause I felt like to serve the people, I had to be near the people.
Right.
And so that's what I've been doing is just whatever come up, like I'm the executive director of our civic club now. And, we just really picked back up in about the last 9 months. And we have did some awesome events to be able to get the kids to understand, because I like to take a holistic approach. So even when you're helping kids, you got to help their parents.
Right.
So it's, you got to help everybody around them to be able to get them to the place that they need to go. Because what I'm finding out, even with youth, it's a lot of unforgiveness that's wrapped up in them standing still.
Right.
And one of the things I started this thing called a Me Challenge, which really starts with forgiveness, where kids can kind of think about the things that they want to forgive people and what they need people to forgive them for. And once kids understand forgiveness only take one person, and then you release people and you can be able to move. A lot of times people don't even know they're mad at that you're mad at them or you did anything to them. And so once you can be able to do that, then you can start moving on. We have kids that's dealing with, parent relations, girls and they mothers as they get older, and just teaching them how to react and communicate with their parents. Because one of the things is that parents really don't talk to their kids anymore. And so I try to make the kids be the initiative instead of the parent, to get them down, because they're the one that want to go somewhere. And sometimes in your household, sometimes can be your biggest hindrance.
Oh my God.
So
we
true.
Had a conversation. We have these conversations. So do you?
Yeah. Well, I think we had this conversation earlier this morning before we got online with you. So it's definitely refreshing to hear that. And I love that you are working with the youth, because it's so important. I mean, that's where it starts from. They're the generation after us, and they're the people that are going to be building our society. So I love the fact that you're really honing in on helping them self-discover, because it takes a little bit of time.
For some reason, I can't hear
us
your question.
to even know who we are. So just knowing that you can help a kid in the early stages of self-discovery is so important.
So do you find that in your helping the youth in the community that you have to get counselors involved? I mean, it has to take a lot on emotionally,
right,
and spiritually, because you're having to help those in the community with the challenges they have themselves, going through your own challenges yourself, discovering yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have to be really spiritually, you have to be in the Word to be able to deal with the kids of today, because you have to have discernment, because every kid you have to deal with different. And once you build a relationship, what I noticed, once you start talking to kids and they trust you, you can help them.
right.
The problem is when kids don't trust you, they won't open up to you to let you know what's really going on with them, what's really getting them to stop. But once they trust you, the door opens.
So how do you build that trust? Is it just through conversation, or just you being there for them? How do you build that type of trust with the kids?
And I think one of the biggest things that's been helping with the kids that I deal with is to have them to write. And as they write, you have to read it. And Because a lot of times they have kids write stuff, they write in journals, and nobody ever reads it.
Nobody reads
And
it.
so
That's
the
so
kids
true.
really don't they don't go past the writing. So we have to be able to read what they're saying. And once we find out what the issues are, then you can give them steps to be able to move forward.
So what do you find that it's now? You're in the Houston area, right? Correct.
Yeah.
And,
Hmm.
and can you share with us a bit about the Upward Bound program and how you got involved in that, and how people can even help or get involved?
Yeah, I was
Okay,
actually
well,
part of the Upward Bound
I got an
program
upper
through
bound
the
program
University of
because I
Houston.
was subbing at a elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And through the elementary school, I started coaching basketball. And one of the guys that was helping me, because it was three of us, it was a teacher, a counselor, and then I was the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took these boys who, from the elementary school that we was going, they had bad, they were saying that these kids wasn't going to do anything. So we took these boys and we took them to the Salvation Army, and we start working with them with their athletic stuff, and then the teacher would working with their homework, and then also we would start that they would get counseling if they needed by the counselor.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that I was working with, he said, Monique, I know you're doing real good with these kids, but I really think that you need to, work with these high school kids. And
Mm-hmm.
so he introduced me to Miss Lott, which is one of my mentors who really realized that I had a gift of motivating people. Because to help people, people got to allow you to help them, especially in education. Because a lot of times we are so structured that you really don't, your giftedness, what you're gifted in, you're not able to really use it. But Miss Light at Upper Bound, she had me on the spot. And I think the first Saturday that I worked with them and I did a speech with them,
Mm-hmm.
and from that day forward, it was hooked. I've been here 17 years.
Wow, that's a
Uh,
long time.
yeah,
Wow.
so the kids they come from 4 different schools, and they come to us on Saturday. So for kids to come on a Saturday after they've been to school 5 days is a big deal. So for them to come here, that they really wants to do better. So it's just our job to be able to motivate them and make sure that so we take them out of state to visit colleges. We've been to New York, California, Washington, New Mexico, Kansas, Atlanta. So these kids are able to go, and there's no cost to them.
Right.
It's really that they just have to have a desire to go to college. And so we push them to, because then, a lot of times at home, they really, if your parent ain't been to college, they pretty much not pushing you. They pushing you to get a job.
Right, right.
Right. Right.
To get a job. And so we are fighting that system. So once we can encourage them that you can go, and some of you can go for free. And then it changed the mindset of the kid. And so that's what we do at Upper Bound. We really are molding the kid to be successful, not where they are right now, because a lot of times kids even people in general, are thinking where they are, but not where they're going.
Right.
Wow.
And so we're teaching them to not necessarily concentrate so much on where they're going, where they are right now, but where they're going. You want to go to college. So these are the things that you're going to need to do. And so once you start building them to build goals, and when you goal setting, you got to put dates on it. You got to put time limits on it so the kids can be able to say, hey, I accomplished that. Oh, I can move to that. And so that's the process of what we do at Upper Bound.
So is the Upward Bound program that you're part of connected to the college
And this
Upward Bound
program I
program?
work with has been in existence at Houston Community College for 46 years. So it's one of the oldest Upper Bounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So
I'm not that old, but I remember Upward Bound. I'm like 25. Then
I actually was a part of Upward Bound as well when I
yeah,
went to University of Houston. So it's a
I'm
really good
25
program. I
too.
got to see a lot of different colleges, different options. It's a really great program.
Do you find that and I mean, I'm not putting parents on blast, but you know, it was a different day and time for a lot of parents. So that sometimes they tend to intervene or interrupt what's best for their child, and it's like, how do you balance the two? You're trying to help the children move forward, make a better place for themselves mentally, spiritually, physically, educationally, but parents haven't gotten beyond their struggle to allow
Right.
their children to get to, you know, to someplace better in their life. You know what I'm saying?
But I think what the problem is not necessarily that. It's the problem that they are starting to let kids make their own decisions that they are not capable of making. So kids are really, when you back in the day, we couldn't tell our parents that we weren't going to church,
Right.
or I didn't want to, or I didn't want to do that, or I don't want to do that. See, nowadays, and I guess it's because they're having, and I think back then they had kids younger, but for some reason, this younger generation that are having kids have a standoff kind of
Yeah.
approach to
That is so
parenting.
true. I feel like
Instead of,
I'm guilty
like
of that
they
as
don't ask their
well with
kids
my
for the
daughter.
report cards. They don't know if they failing.
Right.
That just never happened. They just assume that they're doing whatever they're supposed to,
Right.
and then when they find out that that's not the case, then they want to get mad at the system. And not saying that the school system is doing a good job, but I think, like, I feel like everybody needs to be at the table. A lot of times it's the teacher and the kid at the table, or the parent and the kid at the table, but they never have those entities together so they can work together to make it work for it. But it's always somebody is missing at the table, and that's why I want to be able to talk to when they're all in the table at the table, because when everybody's at the table, nobody can cap out. The truth has to be told.
Do you
So if
find,
the teacher
do you find this becomes a counseling session?
even some workshops together. When people, especially with minorities, when you say counseling, they just think that's just like they crazy.
Yeah.
They use counseling so broad. I think if they just need to be at the table. They need to, a lot of times parents are taking their kids' word, and they know their kids are liars. But then they'll go up to the school and fight with a teacher that they know that their kid is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know they're wrong. And so what it does, it teaches the kid how to lie. So it teaches a whole lot of negative things when they think they like my mother used to say, you can't love your kids to death.
Huh.
Because when you love them to death, that means that you're going to give them stuff they don't need.
That's a good way of thinking.
Wow.
Love makes boundaries. You set boundaries, and you got rules and regulations, and you can't go through that. But when you just let a kid do whatever they want to, and you don't discipline, because they don't even whoop kids anymore.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing. So we just have to constantly. My philosophy has always been, I work through the kids. So when I get a kid, I want them to go and say Miss Howard's name so much so they parents to get mad and say, I want to know who the hell is Miss Howard.
So
That's influencing my
how do you
kids.
find the kids in these challenged neighborhoods? Or I mean, do they just come to you? Or they refer? Do you go out and you're talking to people, trying to connect with them?
Well, the upper bound is one entity. The other entity is when I do events for the community through the civic club, and then through coaching. I have done it. So it's just like I say, in every aspect of my life, I find a way to help people, no matter what it is. If it's at the church, I don't need a leadership role. I just, what do you need me to help you? How can I make this work for you? And you go, and that's how I've been living my life.
So I want to get a little bit about your playing professional football? Because how did you even get involved in that? What made you want to play football? I mean, I love football. I used to play football with my brother in the street, but I would have never
Yeah.
thought about being professional.
I think the reason why I started playing football is that my desire was when I got out of college. I graduated in '90, so they basketball plus full pro basketball at that time didn't start until like '96 or something.
Mhm.
So by the time basketball came out, there was, my stats and stuff didn't count anymore.
Right,
But I met Arlena, which is my publicist,
right.
and I was telling her that I really wanted to play basketball. I was probably weighing about 230 pounds. And, but for some reason she felt like I could. So I went on the training. I got on the semi-pro basketball team and started playing ball. And I went and tried out for Detroit Shop. And it was it was like 500 people there. And it was like a money thing because you paid this money to go and you got maybe 5 minutes to play. And then they sent you home. So I was very, kind of disgusted about that. And then one of my cousins came to me and said, "Hey, did you hear that they having a women's pro football league?" I said, "Oh, really?" And so he gave me the information. And I said, "Okay, well, I want to play professional sports." I said, "Well, maybe it'll be football." So I went out, went through the process, knew I had made the team. Uh, and they told us at our last practice, they say, if we don't call you, you come to practice and you made the team. If we call you, you don't make the team. So they called me. I had went to church and they told the church that, I'm gonna play, I'm boasting because I know I ain't seen the talent out there. And I'm like, I know I play better than these, So I know I'm gonna be in this 52.
Uh-huh.
And they called me and told me, sorry you didn't make the team. If you would like, you can be on the practice team. I told them, oh, no, that's okay. So they was having practice that Wednesday. And when they got to practice, I wasn't there. And they realized when they went through the people, my number never came up. And so they had to call me back and and tell me that I did make the team. And from that day forward, it was just on, and I think a lot of people, would say that the biggest thing that I played professional football and, we were the women that started playing football and stuff. But for me, it was that I learned how to pray during that process.
Hmm.
I can remember the first game we had. And coaches didn't, because I didn't play like most of the girls that played flag football and all that. I came out there just raw. What I learned playing as a kid.
Right,
That's
right.
what I went out with, and it was just amazing how it just came about that we had all these practices and we get ready for the game and we getting ready to pray and the coach say, "Okay, Mo, you pray." And guess what? I had never prayed out loud for nobody. So it was like, boom. And for the 3 years that I played football, I prayed before each game. And I think that was the beginning of my spiritual walk to a point where that I knew God was doing something special in my life.
So do you have any other, like, are you working on anything else moving forward that I
Uh, yeah,
for some new development?
I'm working on my documentary, and I'm
Oh,
beginning to work on my book.
and this is going to be your biography, I assume.
Yes, my biography. Yes,
So
yes, because
Your documentary. So your documentary, just your as well as like the court to go along with your biography, your life story.
Yes, yes. A girl in her hood.
So if there's anything before you would leave this earth that you would want to be recognized and known for, um, what would you say that would be that you want remembered for?
That I love people, that I serve people.
Which must take a lot of patience and forgiveness.
Yes, but you know what I have always learned? When I deal with people, I don't put nobody on a pedestal. I look at everybody as wounded. So if they hurt me, I can get past it. But
So,
when you
could you
put
tell us a
people in
little bit
certain
about your
places, and, this one
entrepreneurship
is
journey?
better than that one. When I deal with kids, I don't care if they come in with clean clothes or dirty clothes. I know that there's something deeper inside that can hinder them from being successful.
Right,
So
right.
I look, so I go from that point of view. It's like, hey, we're all wounded, So whatever I can do to help you, that's what I want to do. And because I'm a believer, whatever you do to me, you can't hurt me. I can handle it. It might hurt for a little while, but I can handle it. I from a little girl being a tomboy, girls didn't like me, boys didn't like me. So I got to a point where I had to get past that, because all the boys would hang with me because I made sure I had all the equipment. Because I was a girl, the guys weren't gonna let me play. But if it was my ball, I'm gonna play, or I'm gonna take my ball because we was all poor. But I made sure had all the equipment, so I was able to work on my game that way.
You
So,
had a question, Laura?
yeah, I was gonna say. So,
Say it
could you tell
again.
me a little bit about your entrepreneurship journey? I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
No, I couldn't hear the question. What did you say?
I was going to ask you, I wanted to hear a little bit about your entrepreneurship journey.
I
I
couldn't
know
hear your
that you're
question.
writing a book right now.
Your
Can you
share
hear me?
a little bit about your entrepreneurship journey. I mean, because you're giving, not like us, we have a different type of business, a service to provide that's tangible. You have
Yes.
an entrepreneurship service to provide that's of yourself. So it's
Right.
Yeah.
of your brand. So, that in a journey in itself is giving a lot of yourself. Like what are your experiences of being in the nonprofit sector? People who want to do something similar to yourself.
It's tough. It's a because it's a sacrifice. Um, I even now I know that what's going to happen for me might be later on. For us, when you talk about being able to, because I'm helping at a small number of people. Uh, but with the nonprofit, with the 501c, once that come in, that number it can broad out because I've been working on my own money. People that believe in me, believe in what I do, give me money to be able to, like for Christmas, they gave me all the body wash, all the toothbrushes. People just donated to be able to make that successful. Um, when I did the Halloween program, we did a shop for your parents this year, which were where kids came in and shopped for their parents, and it was all new stuff. They picked out the gift, we wrapped it up. We had wrappers to wrap it up, and the kids could go and put something under the tree for their mother or their father or both. And so it was a process of teaching them that you don't always have to take, that you have to be able to give. So with my nonprofit, so the man side that you have to be a person that willing, that you got to be patient because it gets frustrated. People can be nasty. People can. when you're doing the right thing and helping people, and people are talking bad about you. And so you got to have tough skin. If you believe in something, you just have to keep pushing, keep moving. Don't ever stop. I think from the time I started at 15, I have been consistent. Even when I was in college, I would come home and coach that baseball team with Mr. Earl. Every year, whatever I did, I come back and do it. So with any nonprofit, uh, with profit, it's your consistency.
Hmm.
You have to stay consistent, and you have to believe in what you're doing, because there's going to be uh, some bumps in the road to make you stop, but you got to keep going
How
no
can
matter what.
donate or volunteer, or how can they give, how can they get a hold of you, the best way to help, to help the community, help the children, to be a part of what you're doing?
Well, we have Arlena for me. Arlena is the contact for us dealing with uh, me speaking, doing stuff like that. But for the Civic Club is through our Ryan Civic Association.
And they can get a hold of them or you directly?
Yeah, they can get directly with me, or they can go through. I would prefer them to go through Arlena, Arlena's information, and then they can get it to me.
Okay. And so I want to make sure that people know how to actually get in contact with you, maybe get a, I don't know,
Okay, my email address directly for me
Mhm.
is Monique the Bus Howard 41 at gmail.com.
Okay. The Bus Howard.
Yeah, that's THE. Yeah, just like the Bus Howard
Okay.
41 gmail.com.
Perfect. So I want to make sure that everyone's aware. And what is it that they could possibly actually do? Um, is it just for they can do donations? They
Yeah,
can.
they can donate, because we do events all the time. Like we're gonna do an event for our seniors in March. So
Okay.
we're gonna do a dinner for the seniors. They come in and we're just gonna love on them, and so they can donate to that cause for us. The food that's concerned, any gifts that we want to give out, uh, just constantly. That's why I say I'm taking a holistic. So I'm dealing with the parents, the grandparents. We're starting a reading because the city of Houston gave me a library for the Civic Club. And so we're going to do a Sunday night reading where kids will come in and do a book club. So so we ask for volunteer readers. So
Okay.
it's just a lot of stuff through our Facebook that you'll be able to see through my Facebook, that you'll be seeing some of the things that we're doing.
So
And is your Facebook just your name? Is it Monique the Bus Howard, or is it just
And my
Monique
Facebook is just Monique Howard.
Howard? Okay.
Okay, so for all of our listeners who aren't watching live on Facebook, and I'm so that you can make sure that you can get a hold of Monique the Bus Howard, we actually have her email here, Monique the Bus Howard at gmail.com. And of course, you can listen and replay on the live to get a hold of her, as well as find her on Facebook. So you can get involved if you want to get involved. And that's in Houston, correct? But you can really be anywhere, I think, to donate
Oh yeah, most definitely.
or monetarily.
Most definitely. Yeah. You could be anywhere. You could be in Africa and you can send me some money.
So when you're done with your biography, and I guess that's kind of in the works, will you be able to share that with us so that we can actually get that out to the
Yeah, I'm hoping to be done by the end of the year.
Okay.
because
By the end of the year, we started the documentary already, uh, but it's just so many phases of me. It's like, where do you start? I have a portion for us when I was younger, when I got out of college, when I got a little older. So it's so many phases of how I have affected my community.
Right.
And I think that's the point.
I find that when people write a book or their biography, that they then relive their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, you do. And when you look at it, and I know a lot of people don't see the scars that I had to go through to get the things that I had to do.
Right.
Right.
You know, I went to college not thinking that I had the brains to do it. But one thing that I can say about me is everything that I have been scared to do, I still did it. And I found out in the long run that it wasn't so bad. And that's my advice is that we got to go past our fears because you find out that it's not as bad as you think it is.
Right.
Often when people get to a certain destination in their life, they're like, wow, I can't even believe I even went through all that. It seems
Right.
like so fast when you get to that end result.
Yeah, you looking at me, a person that thought that they weren't educated enough to go to college, and now I'm helping kids go to college. I mean, that's that thing. It's like fear can just paralyze you.
Right.
And I'm telling people through my life, don't let it paralyze you. Keep moving. No matter how many people doubt you, keep moving. Keep believing. Don't stop, no matter what. Because God has a good plan for you. And if you keep thinking that no matter how it is right now, it's going to turn around.
How do you separate your emotional connection? Because that has to be extremely hard because you're helping, kids that are at a disadvantage in some way in neighborhoods, and some that you may be familiar with, but they're not your children, but you're taking them on like they're your children, but you have to always keep some type of, like you said, a boundary of separation.
Right.
I think that's why God didn't have me to have kids. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I couldn't have had kids. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's because I'm free to do what I can.
Right.
You know, there's no limitations to, no family ties. And like I'm single. So even now, and I have been single all my life, really. Because I've been doing this work all my life. I don't want to be single. I won't, but it just has worked out that I've been able to pour myself into other people. And it's been rewarding to me. Because when I see a kid graduate from college or I see a kid later on in life and they say, hey, Miss Howard, I was feeding the homeless. Just example. I was feeding the homeless for Thanksgiving. And one of my kids that was in Upper Bound was at the little it was like a place where they go work for a day labor.
Uh-huh.
And he came and he said, that's Coach Howard. And he came over there and said, don't you know that I made it through and got my bachelor's and my master's because what you did for me that my senior year. And that takes a whole lot. For
Wow.
Christmas, they closed down the place that we would feed the homeless. And one of the ladies that worked with us worked in the prison system. And a guy seen her. She called me on a Sunday morning. And she said, "Mo, this guy was there. And he said thank you because the day that we came to feed them one night, he didn't know where he was going to eat." And that was something that was left over from another event. That
Right.
we just started giving it to the people that already ate. We go take it to somebody. And
Right.
that was a person that thought that they wasn't going to eat today. And so those things are what keeps me going. And that's what fills me. Because then I know that I'm doing the will of God.
Well, it's good you're doing something that isn't that you would think you would get paid for immensely for, because people's service, they don't get paid for their service.
Yeah.
So it's really important that the community is always aware and the community helps and provides, because you give so much of yourself, but you can't put a dollar value on that.
You can't.
No,
Not
you
at
can't.
all.
And I think that's the greatest part. And I think it's also the saddest part about me is that a lot of people don't even know what I have sacrificed for my hood.
And I'm sure that'll be in your biography.
Most definitely. But I don't have no regrets.
That's just giving us a little hint. Well, thank you. I mean, and I hope that maybe when it's time that you'll say, "Hey, girls, ladies from Entrepreneur Life, my biography is out." And
if you know my publicist, Arlena Richards, don't you worry. She is going to get with you to make sure that you're a part of.
Okay. Well, we would like to thank you so much for taking.
Yes, thank you.
And again, to all of our listeners that are listening live, because while we go live on Facebook, we are streaming live on 11 different podcasts. So for those who are listening live, just go to our page, entrepreneurlife.show, and it will take you right into our live interviews, as well as you'll see all of our past interviews, so you can get in touch with all of our guests and find out how to connect with them. And today, of course, we have Monique, the bus Howard, with her really great journey and story.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was great. I mean, it was very insightful. It just refreshed me. I feel like I can go out and do anything today. So thank you again for just sharing and, working with the youth, because they are our future. So thank you.
And we were just talking today just about some of the things that you were saying. So you really kind of hit some stuff to us that we're actually been challenged with through our own personal journey. So it was important that we got to hear it from someone else, kind of, I guess, confirmed it in a sense.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
I'm glad, and never stop.
I really wanted to be able to help people to understand that God has a plan for you, and sometimes it seems like it's not clear. Sometimes it seems like it's not going to come true. But like I say, stay consistent. Don't give up. And do not let nobody take what you really believe that's for you. Don't let them convince you to do otherwise.
And we'll end with that. That was a powerful statement. Thank you again, for being a part of our show. We can't wait to read the book, and again, be able to promote it on the show as well. So thank you for everything.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks, Monique.
All right, thanks. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
So we will see you all next Saturday.
Next Saturday.